Okay, today, boys and girls, we are going to begin learning about scientists. But before we begin, I want to find out what you already know about scientists and what they do. We're going to use a strategy called a knowledge chart. Here's a picture of our knowledge chart that we're going to use today. A knowledge chart tells us, we find out what we know before we start talking about scientists. And then, after we do a little bit of looking at pictures in books, we're going to find out what kind of knowledge we gained. All right? So what do you know now, and what will you know after you've looked at pictures? So to begin with, raise your hand if you can tell me what you know about scientists before we begin. Like, what is something you know about a scientist? What do scientists do? I have a couple of people who know a little bit. All right, Peyton?
They study stuff.
They study stuff. What do you think they study?
Like volcanoes and stuff.
Okay, so they study things like volcanoes. All right. So they study things like volcanoes. Philip, what do you know about scientists?
Them have these sort of glass things and them have green and blue and purple stuff and them mix it.
So they have glasses to mix. What do you think the green and blue and purple stuff is? So they mix things then.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
You just don't know what, but they mix things. Okay, let's write that down. They mix things. Let me turn these lights out too so that we can see better. There. They mix things. Christopher Barth, what do you know about scientists?
Gotta be careful with glass.
They say that one more time.
Gotta be careful with glass.
Oh, you have to be careful with glass. Yes, you do. But what do, and scientists, when they work with glass, sometimes they use glass, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And they have to be careful with it.
Or the flex.
Okay, so they use glass. Anything else? Brooklyn, what do you know about scientists?
They're real good artists.
They're good artists, you think? Some of them maybe.
That's a good
What
idea.
kind of things do you think they draw?
Flowers.
And those are scientists?
Flowers? Flowers are scientists?
Well,
that's scientists.
you know, I imagine that they probably do have to draw things at times. That's not their main job though, because an artist would spend more time drawing, but they probably do have to draw sometimes for their job. Maybe we'll find out some more later about that. Lyric, what do you know about a scientist?
You have to be careful with airplanes. You gotta fix some, you need some.
You think that
You have
scientists fix airplanes?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that they fix them exactly,
They make them.
but
Or they paint them. They paint airplanes.
I don't know that a scientist would be the one to paint the airplane.
Well, I saw a guy paint one at the airport in Urbana.
So maybe, he probably wasn't the scientist though. Maybe the scientist has to study the airplanes and how they stay in the air. You think?
Yeah, that's thinks he's just a scientist of painting.
Well, let's put that scientists might study airplanes. Or maybe the air. I'll write the word planes in parentheses.
Planes. I like airplanes.
I know you do.
I like
Okay,
flying.
last one. Dylan,
They make potions.
they make potions. All right. Well, boys and girls, I'm going to show you some pictures in a book. All right, Matthew, are you ready? And some of you are not looking like you're real ready. Philip, go ahead and set your head up, buddy. Matthew, I'm going to show you some pictures in these books. I'm going to put them up here. And I want you to look close at the pictures and see what kinds of tools the scientists are using. And other things in the picture that might give you a clue as to what the scientists could be studying in these pictures, okay? Let's look together. What about this one here? What do you notice in this picture?
I'm a scientist. I see a scientist.
Well, these are all scientists. What kind of tools do they have? Are they working with?
Pipes.
Some kind of pipes? So what goes in those pipes?
Science.
Science goes in the pipes. What do you think is actually inside those pipes? Dylan?
Potion.
Potions?
Yeah.
Maybe those would be chemicals more than what we call potions. Kylie? I noticed some of you said before we started, when I asked what you know, that they work with glass. And right here I see a glass beaker. Let me fix my computer here. We're on phone. I see a glass beaker right here. Let's turn the page and see if we get some more information. Or before we do, what about this guy?
And lean.
Any idea what that is in his hand?
It's glowing. There's two pushing to
He's sewing.
Or what he would use that tool for?
to glow.
To sew.
It's a type of protractor.
Oh, what's a young man that's a scientist over there? Who is he?
Well, let's turn the page. We'll learn more about who they are later. What about in this picture? Whoa, what is that?
A telescope.
A telescope. What would you use a telescope for, a
To see
scientist?
the moon.
Kylie? To see the moon. So wait a minute. So then we're gathering that scientists study
Science.
Moon.
what?
Science.
Hayden, what did you say?
Moon.
Peyton. Scientists must study the moon. Okay, the moon and what else? The moon and
A telescope.
what else could they be looking at with that telescope?
With stars.
Stars. Okay, so scientists study.
Look over.
I see the sun on it.
Oh, sorry.
Your hair was in the way.
It's like back
That's
hair.
not our hair. That's not our hair.
Nope, boys and girls, focus. Scientists study the moon and stars. Okay,
And some different
so
planets.
we've added that to our paper. Scientists study the moon and stars.
And different planets.
And planets, let's add it. And planets. Let's look at the next page. See if we get some more information. Looking at that book he has. They must do a lot of writing. and recording stuff. What did you say?
When I grow up, I want to be a scientist.
Okay.
When I grow up, I want to paint a plane.
So you think that scientists must have to write a lot?
Yeah. To make art, to make science.
Okay. What kind of things do you think they're writing down? I'm looking at this. It looks like this guy wrote a whole book because that's not, it looks like he probably wrote that
Yeah, all by himself.
all by himself. What do you think he may have written in there?
Science.
The stuff he's gonna do for science.
The things he'll do? What about things he's discovered? What, as he's looking at the stars, things he notices?
Like shooting stars.
Shooting stars, possibly. Oh, I heard someone say this. What is this?
Planet.
Planets.
It's a telescope on the moon in outer space. I said that. Whoa, guys are big.
Yeah, a telescope, you're right. A telescope on the moon.
And one right there. And one was a huge one. That's a huge one ever.
I believe that's the Earth right there.
Little Earth.
That's a photo of the Earth. Well, I can read this, even though today's lesson's not about reading. And that is the Hubble Space Telescope, and it's orbiting the Earth. All right,
Whoa,
let's turn the page.
that's a big.
There we go again with a lot of
This is a long book. Science.
speakers. What do you call mixing chemicals? When you mix chemicals, does anyone know what that's called?
Mix chemicals.
When someone has to study chemicals and they have to do a lot of mixing chemicals,
Or test glass together.
and they mix them in those glasses.
And
That is-
and hit them.
Do you know what that's called, Dylan?
Potion.
Well, potion is more of a word that I think we've gotten from magic and TV shows. But chemistry, have any of you heard of chemistry? Raise your hand if you've heard of that word. Matthew, have you heard of chemistry? Chemistry? Well, you'll hear more about it as you get older. Let's turn the page.
Hey, Mrs. Nelson, I
Here.
want to tell you something.
Oh, hold on. Is it about scientists?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you mix chemicals into that toilet in a camper, that's mixing.
Mixing chemicals to clean the toilet?
In the camper.
Okay.
And
All
wash
right.
out because
Oh, wait a minute here.
food.
Wow, look at this picture.
That's making me hungry.
What else can we gather that scientists study? Philip, Peyton, what are you thinking? Take a look at that picture. What's something else that scientists study? Peyton, what do you think?
Food.
They study food? Well, that's not just any kind of food. I don't see like a pizza up there.
Vegetables.
Vegetables,
The seed.
vegetables and fruits are all,
Good.
how do we get them?
From a garden.
From a garden? How do they get in the garden?
You plant them.
We plant them, so
By
they
the
must
seed.
study. Scientists must study
The seed.
seeds and what do you call it once it starts growing? It's not a seed anymore, but now it's called a plant. So scientists must study plants.
And them have a lot of south for the science is very hard because we'll pop that goes in everything pop. Big banana and pop.
Here. Are you ready? Kylie, are you ready? Are we ready for the next page? And I'm looking at this page here, and there's a scientist I know named George Washington Carver. Well, I don't know him, but he, I believe he was the one that planted peanuts.
Peanuts. I love peanuts.
Can you sit up and put your feet on the floor for me, please, Peyton? Thank you.
About bubbles. About bubbles. Science got bubbles.
Oh, here we go. There, yes, I was right. George Washington Carver. Here he is with peanuts. He grew peanuts. And he found different ways to use them. Oh, wait a minute. What? Look at this. Wait, I see peanuts here. Does anyone know what's in this bottle?
Science.
Oh, science isn't going to be the answer for every question I asked you today. Peyton,
Chocolate.
Matthew, could you please put those away? Ooh, I love chocolate. That's not chocolate. Years ago, when you had an ink pen, it didn't come with ink inside. You had to dip your little metal thing that looked like an ink pen into a bottle of ink. That is ink. And what does this one say? Glue. So I'm gathering that, why would they have a picture of peanuts with ink and glue?
Kumase. Got her.
You mix it together. I'm guessing then that peanuts must be used to make ink and glue. And I'm just gathering that without reading from the picture. So let's write that peanuts, and I know I helped you a lot on that one. And so we could write down that peanuts are used to make ink and glue. Let's move on. The last picture.
Stoken. Stoken.
Rocket ship.
And Stoken.
There's a rocket ship. Skeleton.
Rockets.
Oh,
So scientists must study.
science.
If there are scientists inside that rocket, they are going to go study
On the moon.
outer space. And we already said planets and
There's
stars.
fire coming out.
And what about this here?
Stoken. This is Stoken.
Skeletons.
They
There's
must
fire coming
study
out.
skeletons.
Skeletons. So they must study
Bones.
bones and
Stoken.
your body. Okay, so they may study bones. Let's write scientists study bones. Scientists study bones. All right.
And I'll stand.
Sorry to interrupt. This message is for the teachers that are in the K-12 hallway. It appears as though the air conditioning is down in your hallway. Obviously, I think you know. So go ahead and open your